Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. See, I got my gear on for today. Today is one of the greatest days in all of sports, in my opinion. The game. Ohio State, Michigan. The game. Enjoying some Country Squire PS blend, which is an aromatic English in my Peterson XLO2 Christmas pipe. Love this pipe. The blend's not too shabby either. If you like those kind of crossovers, it's a good early morning blend because I'm an English guy. Let's talk about the game. Let's talk about Ohio State. As many of you know, by the title Buckeye Piper, I'm from Ohio. I grew up just outside of Columbus, Ohio, about 25 miles east on a little town, a little lake called Buckeye Lake in a little town called Millersport. So born and bred a Buckeye. You were a Buckeye fan the minute you popped out of the womb, and that's just the way it was. Still, I don't know if any of you've traveled to the Columbus area. I mean, I would consider where we live Columbus area. 25 miles away, all of our news, all of everything was from Columbus. So we were Columbus area. And you cannot go to the Columbus area without being inundated with Ohio State. You're either a fan or you are miserable because you live there. If you're a Michigan fan living in Columbus, you're just miserable. Over the years, this rivalry for me goes way back. You know, I remember having parties at my house when we were junior high age and you know, having people over to watch this game. Spending the night at my friend's, spend the night at my friend Brian's house one time. That was the game where Ohio State came out. It was Earl Bruce's last game. Ripped down the "Go Blue, We Support You" banner, and it was a bad Ohio State team, but proceeded to beat Michigan in Michigan. We watched that game on replay on WOSU that night, and then again in the mornings. We watched that game 3 times. Personally, I've been to 2 Ohio State Michigan games. I was at the one in 1998. That one kind of we won. The stinger in '98 was we freaking lost to Michigan State and lost our chance to play in the BCS title game against probably would have been Tennessee. So Florida State snuck in. We were the best team in the country that year. The other Michigan game I've been fortunate enough to see was in 2015 with my wife, Mrs. Buckeye, and my son, Brendan. We went to the big house in 2015 and watched Ohio State just take apart Michigan 42-13. Fantastic. People were leaving in the third quarter. It was great. So Ohio State's won the last 7 in a row and 14 of the last 15. And I always get so nervous. I had a hard time sleeping last night. And, you know, I grew up in the 80s where it was a very competitive rivalry. And then in the 90s when Cooper took over after Earl Bruce, we couldn't beat Michigan. He was 2-10-1 against Michigan. We would roll into that game every year, either undefeated with a chance at the Rose Bowl or later in the years, a chance at the BCS. And he couldn't beat him. Never could beat him. Couldn't win a bowl game either, really. So all those years of angst always haunt me to this day, even though we haven't lost. I mean, you think about, I seen something on Facebook the other day. Since Michigan has beat Ohio State in Columbus, which they're playing in Ann Arbor in Michigan today, they haven't. Facebook wasn't around the last time Michigan beat Ohio State in Columbus. And I can't remember the entire list, but some very common things that we all look at and use every day didn't exist. So, but you still have that angst because this is the game. It's that school you just hate. Just grew up hating Michigan and everything about them. Now, I find it odd that my wife is from Michigan. I married a Michigan girl. Um, that's kind of interesting. Now, when I say I hate Michigan, for me, I'm talking the school, University of Michigan. Michigan as a state, even though I will sing "We Don't Give a Damn" for the whole state of Michigan, it drives Mrs. Buckeye crazy because she hates that song. Michigan as a state is a really beautiful state. My in-laws live there. I lived there for a little bit. The camping there is phenomenal. The people are nice. It's just the University of Michigan Wolverines that I've grown to dislike with a passion. And it's because it's taught. So this is an example of how hate is truly taught. You know, we talk about a lot of that stuff when you're talking about, you know, are people born to hate others? Are they born a racist? Are they born? No, you're taught. And we were taught all our lives to hate Michigan. I mean, from the earliest days. So we do. Now, don't get me wrong. Hate's a strong word. Am I going to go up and get in a fist fight, or if somebody needs a pint of my blood and they're a Michigan Wolverine, am I not going to give them a pint of my blood? No, of course not. I mean, let's be realistic. This is sports, people. So in the sporting atmosphere, it's just that great love-hate relationship. We just love to hate each other. Michigan hates us just as much. And you just look forward to this game all year. All year. I, I used to always say I'd rather beat Michigan than win a national championship, but that is not the case anymore. If something is to happen today and we slip up against Michigan, but we handle our business in the Big Ten championship game and can get in the playoffs, I would trade today. As painful as it would be, I would trade today for a national title. You have to. I mean, that's not even close. As much as I hate Michigan, I mean, a national title is a national title. And I think it's going to be a great game. So, will we have the power to pull this off? We shall see. You know, growing up Ohio State, some of my fondest memories too are from Ohio State football. You know, one of my 13th birthday party, I had my friend Brian and Rick over. They spent the night, and we watched then number one Iowa come into Columbus on a rainy, sloppy, nasty day, and the Buckeyes beat them. We had Keith Byers, who was hurt. We had Chris Carter, Mike Lenise. So we were loaded on offense, but the defense was terrible. And they just thought Chuck Long and Ronnie Harmon were just going to rip us up that day. Didn't happen. Ohio State won. I know it was 22, either 22-13, 22-15. It's been a minute since I looked back at the score, but I think it was 22-13. But a great win. And again, but that game, the game, no greater rivalry in sports. And of course, that's perspective. You know, there are great rivalries in sports. Army, Navy, Alabama, Auburn, Red Sox, Yankees, Florida, Georgia. There are a lot of great rivalries. I mean, some of the Florida State games over the years. Penn State, Ohio State, they want to be our rival, but they just haven't beat us enough yet to really make that a rivalry. But I have a lot of respect for that program. So what's going to happen today? I do look for Ohio State to win. I look for them to win. My prediction's 38-24 Ohio State. It's going to be snowy, ugly, yucky up there, so it's going to be a run game. Michigan will not be able to run the ball against us. It's just not going to happen. Our defense is just stout. And we can run the ball. We run it very well. If we ran it against Penn State, we'll run it against Michigan. We ran the ball against Wisconsin, who was one of the best defenses in the country at the time. We'll run the ball against Michigan. I promise you that. But still to this day, I get nervous as all get out when it comes to this game. It doesn't matter the records. Doesn't matter how people are playing. Doesn't matter what happened last week. It's on. Throw them out because this is Ohio State, Michigan. And it's usually always for the Big Ten. For years, this was the game that decided it all. Big Ten championship, Rose Bowl berth, the whole 9 yards, almost always came down to this game. There you have it, folks. I got long-winded. So, would love to hear about your stories, your rivalry games. What games cause you to lose sleep or do anything? I mean, you may not even be a sports fan. There's nothing wrong with it. A lot of people aren't. That's okay. I would tell you this PS blend. Check out the Squire. It's worth it. If you haven't picked yourself up one of these bad boys, one of the Christmas pipes, I think they're down to 70 now. The XL02 is a fantastic pipe. This thing just smokes like a dream. It's got that nice bend, so you could just sit here and be pensive and read or think. With a very generous bowl. So I'm going to jump off here. Hopefully I don't have to jump off the house if Ohio State loses today. This game makes me nervous. It does every year. Always makes me nervous. So it's, you're on camera. Hey, Mrs. Buckeye, you can go back inside. Or you can stay out here. I don't care. But anyhow, I'm going to jump off here, everybody. Just wanted to say hey, and we'll catch you later. Hopefully with an Ohio State win. Maybe jump on a house party tonight if anybody's interested. Hit me up. And it's been a minute. Need to catch up with some of y'all. Wishing y'all the blessings in the world. Y'all take care of yourselves out there. Pay it forward. And go Bucks. We'll catch you next time.